Hi guys, welcome back to another day at Book Club Cafe. um, so last time we were here, it got hot. So we're here to read the Strawberry Patch Pancake House and catch up on it. This is pre-recorded. Actually, it'll come in order, but I'm trying to pre-record some videos for you guys while I recover from my hysterectomy Wednesday. So say some prayers for me because I'm really nervous and it's a little scary. But thank you all for being here, and let's begin. And some of the things I'm not going to read out loud. You'll have to read them by yourself because it's like, I don't want to say it on camera. It's like, you know what I mean. Chapter 27, page 233. 1 week after the kitchen counter incident, they were sitting on the couch together watching a movie. Olive was not in between them. Olive wasn't even at home. She was having a sleepover at her grandmother's house, so they decided to take advantage of having the TV to themselves and watch a movie. And now here they were in the cozy darkness of the living room with no kid at home and an empty couch cushion between them. And Archer had no idea what this movie was about. He'd been staring at the screen for the past 45 minutes, but if asked, he could not tell you a damn thing about this movie. He could tell you that Iris was wearing a tank top and yoga pants, and that her hair was piled on top of her head in a messy bun, and that she smelled like vanilla, and that she'd made happy sighing noises as she ate the dinner he'd made her, and that every time she giggled at something in the movie, his heart constricted, and that he was absolutely losing his mind being this close to her and not touching her. This was ridiculous. He was a grown man, and this was his damn house, and if he wanted something, he should have it, right? Just because he was a father now did not mean he had to be celibate. And Olive wasn't even here. This didn't have to affect her at all. It didn't even have to get messy. Iris? Yeah? She turned to face him with a mischievous smirk. It was almost as though she knew exactly what he'd been stewing over all night. All week, really. I want to kiss you. Her smile grew. So do it. He was across the couch and dragging Iris into his lap before the words were out of her mouth. She straddled him and ran her hands through his hair, tugging a little on the ends. He smiled up at her. I poured salad dressing on pancakes because of you. What? She giggled, and he kissed the sound from her lips. I can't stop thinking about you, Iris, he murmured against her mouth, and he could feel her smile. It's becoming a problem. For me too, she confessed. I basically stopped teaching in the middle of a class. She nibbled his bottom lip, and he groaned. So, what are we going to do about it? He asked. Iris lowered further into his lap, pressing her ass into his. I have a few ideas. And when things get messy, they won't, she promised, grinding against him, and his breath caught. And if they do, I promise we'll protect Olive from it all. He breathed a sigh of relief at that. They protect Olive together. This thing between them didn't have to hurt his daughter. Okay, good. His fingers dug into her hips and she rocked forward. But you have to stop doing that or things are going to get real messy real fast. Iris laughed, her breath warm on his face. I want it messy and fast. I don't want to wait anymore for this. Jesus, Iris, he breathed. This time, she said, already shucking her yoga pants, and Archer barely had time to register her bare legs, her bare ass. Next time, we can go slow. Next time, his thoughts snagged on that little promise. Please, Archer. Iris's desperate voice snapped him back to reality. She was half naked in his lap, her cheeks flushed pink, asking him to do the one thing he'd not stopped thinking about since she moved in. Yes, yes, to her, please. Yes to everything. And then her hands were on him, tugging his sweats down, wrapping around him with such single-minded determination that Archer nearly laughed, but it died in his throat. I'm on the pill, she said, and he nodded. Okay, Archer? He knew what she was asking. Yeah, it's okay. I've been tested. Me too. Okay, you guys might have to... Okay, so I skipped to pay on 237. Shit, he was the one who was going to make this complicated. His feelings were the ones that were going to get hurt. Somehow he had not seen that coming. She leaned forward and planted a kiss on his cheek. I'm going to go clean up. Yeah, of course, Archer was slowly coming back to his senses, to what they'd done and to how much it had affected him. But I wouldn't mind company later, Iris said. You know where to find me. Yeah, okay. He wasn't even sure Iris heard him. She was halfway down the hall by the time he answered. What the hell just happened? After he cleaned himself up with a towel from the kitchen, he sat back on the couch and tried to piece together the last half hour. He should feel relieved, right? Satisfied that finally had the thing he'd wanted for weeks. But it wasn't enough. It wasn't just about, okay, blank, blank. At least it wasn't for him. Not anymore. But Iris had run off immediately after they were finished, so maybe it had just been sex for her? She told him she never planned on having kids, and if they were together in any sort of real way, the whole arrangement came with an automatic child in the mix. So where did that leave them? Archer dropped his head back on the cushions. He thought he would compartmentalize his feelings for Iris. He thought he could handle having her live in his house. He thought he could just control this whole thing like he was so used to doing, but none of this was going how he thought it would. And now he was left with a choice. This could be it. They'd gotten the forbidden sex thing out of their systems, and he could let the whole thing go, move on. He should probably even look for a new nanny, and kids were resilient, right? Olive would be okay. She had him. And he was proud of that, proud that he was here for her. They'd get through Iris's departure together. Or he could take Iris up on her offer to keep her company later. It took him exactly 3 seconds to decide on choice number 2. He didn't know what Iris wanted in the long run, but if there was an inkling of a chance that she wanted him, then he had to take it. Iris stood under the warm spray of the shower and tried not to freak out. Okay, so she'd finally slept with her boss, and it was amazing. And then she'd quite literally run away while also extending an invitation for more fun later. Good Lord, what was wrong with her? She was all over the map. Was Archer as confused as she was right now? Maybe she shouldn't have bailed so quickly afterward, but it was also fast and hard and good, and then she didn't know what to do with herself. He probably thought she was just using him to blank blank because she kind of was, but she also kind of wanted more, and she liked him. Genuinely actually liked him, and it had been creeping up on her all this time, and then it just slammed into her, and she panicked. It had been a very long time since Iris had liked a man and wanted to be around him when their clothes were on. She really didn't know what to do with that. Okay, breathe, Iris. First, you need to get out of the shower because you've been in here for a really long time, and Archer is going to start to think it's weird. She turned off the water and stepped out of the tub only to realize that she hadn't thought to bring in a change of clothes, or even the ones she'd stripped out of in the living room. She had her tank top and sports bra and absolutely no bottoms. Perfect. She didn't bother wrangling herself back into her tank top, instead just wrapped a towel around her and prayed that she could get to her bedroom without being caught. She opened the door and walked straight into Archer's chest. Ugh. Sorry, he grabbed his arms to steady her. I was getting worried. Thought maybe you hit your head in there or something. Iris laughed. Nope, just thinking. Yeah, me too. Archer's gaze was steady on hers, dark and serious in the dimly lit hallway. Iris was hyper-aware of her lack of clothing. Her skin prickled beneath the towel, every nerve ending standing to attention. And what were you thinking about? She asked. Archer's gaze flicked down to the bare skin above her towel and back to her face. I was thinking that this wasn't nearly enough. Really? Her voice was embarrassingly breathy, but Archer still hadn't let go of her arms, and he was so close Iris felt dizzy. Was that your way of trying to end things between us, Iris? Bang out a quick one and we can move on with our lives? Because if it was... No, she responded before she could think. No, that's not what I want. Archer's lips curved into a relieved smile. He moved closer until her back was against the wall. What do you want? I'm not sure. He frowned and moved to back away, but Iris wrapped her arms around his neck and pulled him close again. Iris, if you want to stop, we'll stop. I never meant to pressure you into any of this. She reached up and brushed a chaste chaste kiss on his lips. I do want this. I want this physical thing between us. A lot. Trust me. Archer let out a small chuckle, but he was waiting for her to go on. But I don't know about anything else, and I don't want to hurt you or Olive. I can't make you any promises, so if you want to stop, we'll stop. She held his gaze, and in that moment she wished she could make him a promise, but she still just didn't know about any of it. About if this was a life she even wanted for herself. Thank you for being honest with me, he said, his mouth brushing against hers as he spoke. Just physical is just fine with me. His mouth had moved down to her neck, and he licked the drips of water from her skin. Are you sure? Iris gasped. Very sure. He ran his fingers along the top of the towel. He raised an eyebrow in question, and Iris nodded, happy to be heading far away from this conversation and into safer territory. Archer gave a gentle tug, and the towel slid down her body and puddled at her feet. He groaned, his hands grazing along the curve of her waist and over her hips. His eyes were dark, drinking her all in. Last time was far too quick. He scooped her up in his arms, and she gave a little squeak of surprise. This time, I plan on savoring you. Iris clung to his shoulders, not sure she would survive whatever he had in mind, but very excited to find out. Chapter 28, page 243. Archer laid her on his bed, her towel long forgotten. I've been picturing you like this for weeks. Iris smiled. I hope I'm living up to the fantasy. Far exceeding, actually. Archer shucked his t-shirt and crawled up her body, planting a searing kiss on her lips. You've been so fucking tempting, Iris, like some kind of siren. Iris crinkled her nose. Don't sirens lead sailors to their deaths? Archer's mouth was on her neck now, sucking and nipping the delicate skin. Something like that. Well, I don't go in the ocean, so you might need to come up with a different mythical creature. Archer's head popped up. You don't go in the ocean? Nope. You grew up in a beach town. Right, so I know all the creepy crawlies that live in that water. No, thank you. Archer kissed the frown from her lips. Okay, so you're not a siren. Iris wriggled beneath him and wrapped her legs around his hips. Archer moaned. Not a siren. Iris agreed. Just a really hot human. He laughed, and Iris soaked in the sounds. She loved it when he laughed. Loved that he was having fun with her. That he wasn't stressed about work or his daughter in the moment. See? Things could be simple between them. She could make him smile, and he could make her blank, and everything would be great. And normal, par for the course for Iris. But then she remembered how stressed and worried she'd been when Olive was sick and how Archer had been there for the both of them. How had he taken charge? How he'd shouldered everyone's emotions until the crisis passed. Maybe Archer was different. Maybe she could want different things with him. You are really hot, he agreed, kissing her jawline to her ear. And kind and funny and playful and dedicated. Dedicated? She'd never heard that one before. Yeah, to your students and to Olive, to your friends, to this town. He kissed down her neck as he listed all the things, like maybe she hadn't spent her adult life drifting around. Like maybe she had done some things that mattered to people. Emotion rose tight and uncomfortable in her throat. Oh no. She swallowed hard, but the tears were already streaming down her face. Shit. She never cried. Not unless she was watching those damn commercials they played during the Olympics or encountered an elderly veteran in literally any scenario. And now she was crying during sex? Her body language must have shifted despite her best efforts because Archer's head rose again. His eyes widened when he saw her tear-stained face. It's nothing, she stifled, trying to frantically wipe her face. It's just been a long, weird day. Archer's eyes were soft and his mouth sweet when he said, For me too. He kissed the tip of her nose and got off the bed, leaving her naked and crying and vulnerable. And Iris was about to get up and retreat to her room, because who wants to sleep with a crying person? No one she wanted to sleep with, frankly. But Archer grabbed a fresh t-shirt from his drawer and handed it to her. You can sleep in this, he said, as though he had no intention of sending her back to her own room, as though it was a given that she would sleep here with him, even if they didn't have sex. And the shirt was so soft and smelled so good, and Archer's smile also so soft and he smelled so good, that Iris just gave in. She gave in to the temptation to sleep there, to let this be more than sex, at least for the moment, to let that tender spot in her heart for Archer grow just a little bit more. Because it had been a long, weird day. a long, weird few months, and having sex with Archer hadn't solved any of it. Big surprise there. Thanks. Thanks. She took the t-shirt and pulled it over her head. Archer folded down the sheets and climbed in on his side of the bed. Iris got in after him, and he immediately wrapped his arms around her, tucking her little spoon into his big one, her back to his front. Do you want to talk about it? He asked, his breath tickling the hair at the nape of her neck. She let her fingers trace over the corded muscles of his forearms, where he had held her gently around the waist. It's nothing, really. It was nice to hear that about myself. I guess I usually think of myself as pretty flirty, flighty. Dedicated was new. He pressed his lips to the back of her neck softly. It was barely a touch, but still, she felt it down to her toes. I think you're amazing, Iris, despite my best efforts not to. Iris laughed. Oh, yeah? Of course. Archer's hand was splayed on her belly, his thumb tracing idly on the underside of her breast. Iris forced herself to focus on his words. Sleeping with the nanny is a big faux pas, but having a full-blown crush on the nanny, I think that's an even bigger one. You have a crush on me? The question sounded far too innocent for the situation, that thumb tracing higher, nearly grazing her now. Archer's pressed against her. Yeah, okay. A big one. I might have a crush on you too, she admitted. She could feel Archer's smile on the back of her neck. Oh, yeah? Of course I do, she said with a huff. You've been feeding me food I've only dreamed about. You take care of your daughter in a way that does very confusing things to my insides. And the way your forearms look when you chop things, well, I want to lick them. Archer let out a surprised laugh at that and tugged her closer. You think I'm doing a good job with Olive? He asked, and she could hear the hesitation in his voice, the fear that maybe he wasn't doing a good job at all. You being here is amazing. You making an effort, you trying, you just loving her. It's all perfect, Archer, trust me. She was glad she wasn't facing him because a few more tears slipped down her cheeks. But he must have sensed it anyway. His arms tightened around her. This can be whatever you want, Iris, he said, but just know I'm here for you too, if you want me to be. Iris sighed. You had me with those forearms. You didn't have to be all that sweet, too. His mouth was on her neck again. Can't rely solely on those good looks. I'm still not making any promises, she said, her voice going breathy again, as Archer sucked on the delicate skin where her neck met her shoulder. I'm not asking for any. He slid his hand higher until he cupped her through her shirt. This okay? Mm-hmm, Iris murmured, letting her body take over. Archer's movements were slow and languid now, his hands roving across her skin, savoring her like he said he would. He let one hand slide up her shirt, brushing his knuckles over the curve of her and grazing the... Iris sucked in a breath, and he chuckled in her ear, doing it again. His other arm was still wrapped around her, his hand pressed to her belly, holding her tight against him. Iris felt hot and restless all over, his touch too unhurried, too light. Archer, she breathed. Do something. He chuckled again, his laugh coasting over her skin. I am doing something, Iris. I'm finally touching this sweet body of yours, and I'm not going to rush this time. She groaned in frustration, wriggling against him, feeling the hard, heavy weight of him on her backside. He bit back a groan. Iris, he ground out, his hand snaking between... Okay. Okay, so we're on page 251. Wow. She got up and let Archer pull a t-shirt over her head, let him get in the shower with her, let him shampoo her hair, scrubbing those magic fingers over her scalp. She let him help her out and wrap her in a fuzzy towel and escort her back to bed. She let him tuck her in and wrap his body around hers again. But she didn't let herself think about any of it, about what it meant, about why she liked it so much, about what she was going to do next. It was morning, and a bright spring sunshine was streaming through the windows, and Iris was still in his bed. And this time, she was here on purpose. She was snoring lightly, her hair spread across his pillows. Archer's heart constricted at the sight of her. He liked this girl a lot, and last night had been incredible. But she'd been honest with him. She wasn't sure she wanted anything beyond the physical, so he was just going to have to be content with that for the moment. Iris was still naked from last night, soft and warm next to him. It wouldn't be that hard to keep things purely physical. It should be ideal, actually. Archer ignored the voice in his head, claiming that it wasn't ideal at all. That voice needed to calm down. Iris wasn't a Michelin star. She wasn't a head chef position. She wasn't in immaculate kitchen. He couldn't just set his mind to this goal and achieve it. All he could do was be here and hope she chose him. But in the meantime, he kissed her and she stirred in her sleep. Iris, he whispered, wake up. She frowned, a little crease forming between her eyebrows, but didn't open her eyes. Why? Don't you have the day off? I do, but I need your consent before I go. Wow. Her frown flipped into a slow grin. Okay, I'm awake. I consent. Her eyes were still closed, but he'd take it. Okay. Wow. I can't read that. Okay. So we're on page 254. Archer, she said with a giggle, and he loved the way his name sounded that way too. He sat up, running a hand through her hair, savoring the way she looked in his bed, naked and flushed in laughter. And he could picture life being like this every morning. He wanted life to be like this every morning. He'd been worried at first about taking days off, but Gladys had insisted that he have one day off a week to spend with his family. Work-life balance, she called it, and now he finally understood. He finally wanted that. He didn't need to be in a kitchen every day of his life. He didn't need to be striving all the time. He could be home cooking for the people he loved. The word thundered through him. How about some pancakes, he asked, refusing to meet that word head on. He couldn't love her yet. That would scare her off for sure, even if it was true. She rolled her eyes. Archer, if I have to eat another pancake, I may turn into one. He laughed. Understood. How about an omelet? An omelet sounds perfect, she said with a smile. When they were showered and the sheets were changed and she was at her usual seat at the island and Archer was cooking, he still had that feeling like he wanted to do this every day. So what time do we need to pick up Olive? Iris asked as he scrambled the eggs. Around noon. Olive, right. What were they going to do about her and all this? I don't think we should tell her, about any of this, Iris said, getting to the heart of the matter. And of course that made complete sense. Why would they tell a 5-year-old that they'd fooled around, but it was probably just physical? That would be weird, but a part of him wished there was something to tell her. Definitely, we don't want her thinking that you're going to stick around, that we're dating, that you're going to move to be more than just her nanny. Iris huffed a laugh. We don't want her thinking I'm going to be her new mom just because me and you are her new mom. Right, yeah, that would be too much because we're just... The playful expression she'd worn in bed this morning was gone. Archer, don't say it, Iris. You know we shouldn't do this. Do what? We haven't done anything yet. I tried to be honest with you. I told you. He was around the island before she could finish, planting himself between her splayed knees. You told me, and I heard you. Just physical, I know. And we won't tell Olive. It's fine, Iris. She was right, of course. Olive couldn't know about this, and neither could anyone else. Would Kaori and the custody court allow him to keep his daughter if he was caught fooling around with the nanny? Would they question the environment he was keeping her in? He honestly didn't know, but he couldn't risk it. Not now. Not when he knew he wanted to keep Olive forever. She frowned. I don't want to hurt you. He forced a laugh. You're not going to hurt me. I know exactly what this is, okay? Olive is the one we need to protect. You were right. We won't tell her, and life will go on as usual. With what? The occasional booty call? The smirk on his face was fake, but maybe Iris wouldn't notice. It's a great commute for a booty call, right across the hallway. Can't beat it. Iris was still studying him, so he forced the smile wider. It's the perfect plan. She gave a little sigh and he took the opportunity to kiss her, soft and sweet, until her body relaxed into his. Okay, as long as you're fine with it. Totally fine, he lied, returning to his place on the other side of the island. Now, mushrooms or peppers in your omelet? Both. You got it. Mushrooms, peppers, his whole damn heart. She could have it all. Okay. I'm going to stop here. We left off on chapter 29, page 257. And where did we... start this one? Okay. So, yeah. We left off on chapter 29, 257. And we will... Alexa, stop. We will continue this tomorrow. And I appreciate you guys being here. And this book, there's a lot of it I cannot read because it's like X-rated. So I'm not going to. I don't feel right about doing it. So you guys read that part by yourself. I guess you would call it the good part. But there's certain things I just don't feel comfortable saying. Like on camera. So I will see you guys tomorrow, and let me know what you think is going to happen in the comments below. Bye, guys.